This week on the podcast, we once again hang out with our favorite haunted doll, Annabelle, as she comes home in 2019's Annabelle Comes Home. Everybody, welcome back to the Dissect That Film podcast, where we dissect the good, the bad, and the ugly of your favorite films and film franchises. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, my wonderful co-hosts, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. Welcome back once again. Oh. Gosh, we just love this goddamn doll, don't we?
Yes.
Not our fault.
She's so pretty.
But yes, we love the doll.
Yes, he's our favorite. We love talking about Annabelle. So yeah, this week we were talking about Annabelle Comes Home, which is the third film in the trilogy of Annabelle films, and the fifth or sixth movie in the Conjuring universe. Oh, we're almost to the end, guys. I can see the finish line. We have one more movie to talk about after this one, and yeah, it's as we said last week. This franchise has gone from such a high to just slowly sliding down that hill and cannot seem to get a grip to get back to where The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2 sit.
Isn't that just the fate of any long-running franchise?
Yeah, but
Not
it just
always.
I think you mentioned it last week. It's the fact that they make one every single year.
Yeah.
And you just don't have time to kind of flesh things out and make interesting stories. The funny thing is, this movie came out just 2 months after The Curse of La Llorona.
What?
I thought this movie came out in 2020. This movie also came out in 2019.
Are you serious?
La Llorona came out in April of 2019. This came out in June of 2019. So, and the crazy thing is Annabelle is mentioned in The Curse of La Llorona.
Yeah.
You
see her? Isn't she in the clip with the pastor?
No, he just talks about her.
Oh,
because he's the same priest from the first one.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what the hell are we doing here? I remember seeing this trailer, back when it first was coming out into theaters. And I think the major hype behind it was the fact that the trailer showed so much of the Warrens. Like, the Warrens were a crucial piece of this movie.
Yeah.
And then you watch the movie and you go, what, where'd they go? They just peace out. Just get the hell out of there.
Admittedly, they are at least in it more than the previous Annabelle movies, where they're just mentioned or shown in a clip.
Yes. No, that is very true.
But you're not wrong.
No, it's just very confusing to me that this movie was sold as like a Conjuring 3, but we are focusing on Annabelle as the Warrens are finally getting to face off against Annabelle, and then they're just like, see you later, we got something to do. For some reason, I was like, oh, maybe this movie takes place in between. I'm trying to figure out when this movie takes place, because they disappear, they go on a case, but it's not from the first one, because they don't. Do they have? Oh yeah, they have Annabelle in the first Conjuring, because the doll gets possessed by Bathsheba and fucks with Judy, who's played by a completely different actress. Well, for one, this movie also came out 6 years after the first Conjuring, so that girl, not the same age. But we got. I think the replacement was good. Let's go through some of the behind the scenes stuff, and then we'll talk about our first experiences with this movie, since we all watched this for the very first time. This was directed by Gary Dauberman, who wrote a lot of movies in this franchise. He's finally stepping into the director's chair. He also wrote this and did the screenplay. James Wan came back on as the producer, also helped write the script for this. We have Michael Burgess is our cinematographer this time. That's to be honest, that's kind of like one of my gripes with this movie. This movie, again, like The Nun, just looks too good. I want it to have that 70s feel to it. And the only way you know that it takes place in the 70s is just the clothes they wear and that shag carpeting.
That's some grit.
God damn. You get lost in that carpeting.
No shit.
Stick your hand in there, you're like, holy shit, where'd it go?
Probably lucky they didn't show the inside of a van in this fucking movie. It'd be shag carpet on the walls.
Oh my god! But that's the thing. I want, if you're gonna make a movie that takes place in a certain time, like the 70s or the 60s, any time, like it doesn't have to look like it came from that time, but at least give me some of that grit. You know, give me some of the try to film it in a way where it kind of can resemble a movie that would come from the 70s. Instead, it looks so shiny, so sparkly. Everyone, the way people talk in this movie too, it's just like it doesn't give off that vibe that it takes place in the 70s.
Okay, another thing is when the dude, we haven't got there yet, but when the balls guy does his singing, he doesn't sing like somebody of that time would, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
The way he sings is more like a modern singer would sing. It doesn't sound like any of the big bands of that time, for the most part, that I'm used to hearing in popular music.
Sounds like none of the other music that was played in the... That's
what I'm talking about. Like we'll get to it. Yes.
So our cast, we have McKenna Grace, who is literally in everything. This girl is everywhere. It's insane. All the things that I've seen her in the last like 5 or 6 years. So she plays Judy. She would replace the actress who I to be honest have no idea who the actress was who played her in the original Conjuring. But she plays Judy Warren. I'll name a few things you've probably seen her in. So one of the things I saw that she was in was a remake of the 1954 movie The Bad Seed. Do you remember that? Have you ever heard of that movie? Where it's like a little girl who she's like an evil little girl who pretty much murders anyone who gets in her way. It was a movie that came out, in I think 1954 or 56. There was a remake that was done for Lifetime, directed by Rob Lowe, and she plays the titular Bad Seed. And then there was a sequel that came out last year. Did not know that existed. No. But I think the first time I ever saw her was probably Haunting of Hill House. She was in the latest Ghostbusters Afterlife. She's going to be in the sequel. She was in the last couple seasons of Handmaid's Tale, which is a fantastic show on Hulu. She was
where I know her from.
I think her first movie that she ever did was called Gifted in 2017 with Chris Evans, where she's like a gifted child and he's like a uncle who helps take care of her. She's done small parts in a lot of movies. She played young Tanya Harding in I, Tanya. She played young Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel. So I mean, this girl's done everything. She was in I would watch Young Sheldon, which is about Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory. She's in a crap ton of episodes of that show. And she's also a singer. She released her first single in 2020. So she is a vastly talented individual.
Good for her. You might as well dip your toes in everything, man. Find out what sticks.
Right. We have Madison Eisman, who played Mary Ellen. I was like, where have I seen this girl? And she was in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and The Next Level. She played Bethany, the teenage version of Bethany, not the video game version.
Okay. I'm just going to nod my head.
Have you seen the newer Jumanjis? They're actually pretty good. I love the original Jumanji, and I was very skeptical about the two newer ones, and I was very much surprised in how much I liked them. We have Katie Sarif, who played Daniela. Literally looking through her IMDb, I'm like, I know none of this stuff that she's in.
Probably a bunch of shit. No offense to her. Supernatural.
One episode of Supernatural.
There you go.
Ooh.
One episode of This Is Us.
We have Michael Cimino, who played Bob. He was in a show called Love Victor on Hulu. He was in an animated series that my kids watch sometimes called Hamster and Gretel. Yeah. Don't even ask. Yep, it's about a girl who has superpowers, and so does her hamster.
Well, I wasn't going to, but you brought this out, so this is your fault.
The only thing that was disappointing is that Joseph Becarra didn't return as the demon that possesses Annabelle. He was replaced by Alexander Ward. You could kind of tell. You don't see him much in this movie, but you could tell it wasn't him. He had a very different look to him. But he did do the music for this movie. So he does come back and give us his good scores. I have noticed that any of the scores that Joseph Becarra does are a lot more, I wouldn't say iconic, but they're more memorable than any of the other scores in any of the rest of these movies. They're all okay in a way, like they all bring that creepy factor, but I think Joseph Becarra, he knows how to make a really memorable horror score. Maybe this one wasn't his strongest, but I like it.
Okay.
So yeah, this was released June 26, 2019. It ran at an hour and 46 minutes. Its budget was between $27 and $32 million, and it made $231.3 million. So this universe made about $600 million because La Llorona came out just 2 months before, making pretty close to that as well. So
yep,
pretty good return.
Yeah, especially for, like you said, a lower budget film.
Yeah.
Films. So.
And we also have Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson back as Ed and Lorraine Warren. Can't forget to talk about them.
Oh, no. Absolutely not.
So, yeah, so Doberman, as we stated, he wrote the first two Annabelles. He wrote The Nun. And it was... I felt like when I saw his name as the director, I'm like, well, this makes a lot of sense. You know, he is kind of him and James Wan, you know, built this character up, helped get her on screen, and she's, as much as her films are not the strongest of this franchise, she is a very memorable character. So it made a lot of sense to bring him on board to direct this movie. The problem is it's just there's so much happening and there's no payoff.
Nope. Didn't the same thing happen with writers becoming directors or something similar with the Jaws franchise too?
Well, so you had Joe Alves, who was the director for Jaws 3D. He was the production designer and pretty much the guy who helped design Bruce for the original Jaws. And I believe he did Jaws 2. And yeah, so they're like, hey, come on in. You know, we talked about Jaws 3 a long, long time ago. Maybe one day we'll revisit that movie to kind of refresh ourselves, because I'd love to talk about Jaws 3D again. But it's just one of those things where you either have a first-time director coming in, the studio doesn't fully trust what they can do, so they step, you know, over it. There was, you know, Jaws 3D had a lot of different ideas. You know, first it was going to be a National Lampoon movie, and then it was going to be this and that, and then they were like, hey, first-time director, we're going to do 3D, and he's like, cool, I can't wait. This is going to be, I mean, back then people were like super excited about 3D, but then they realized how much of a pain in the ass it was to make 3D movies, and they're like, oh, fuck, what did I sign up for? But that's enough about Jaws 3D right now. We're talking about Annabelle Comes Home, and it's kind of the same thing. I don't know. The thing is Doberman's been so involved in this franchise for so long, I don't feel it was like studio overstepping. I just feel this is just a weak script. They just didn't know what to do with this character. And to be honest, I feel they had something cool. Like the fact of having Annabelle kind of turn the Warrens' haunted museum, or whatever they call this, the occult museum, to kind of bring it alive, I think is a really cool idea. It just kind of goes nowhere. And there's just so many things where you're like, it's like you have a lot of tense moments that have no payoff. You have people who you feel are in danger, but then you see them 5 minutes later and they're in no danger at all, and you're like,
totally fine. Yeah.
What?
I'm in danger.
Yeah, literally. Happening? Like there is literally one scene where we see one of the characters. She's doing something. She gets attacked, and she tries to get out of the room, but she can't get out, and it just cuts to another scene, and then you come back to her 5 minutes later, and she's fine. What are you talking about? Like, she was getting attacked. So, but we'll get to that when we run through this plot, but it's just an absolute, I just feel it's just a messy script. They just didn't know what to do. To be honest, I feel like it would have been great if the Warrens were involved. But instead, we were just given these characters that, to be honest, I don't want to say I don't care about them, but it was just not as integral to me caring as much. Like, if it was Ed and Lorraine fighting off, the Annabelle demon, I'd have been like, fuck yeah, let's go. But they just peace out, and you're just like left here going, oh, okay.
I think the biggest problem is what is the time that this takes place?
That's my question. When does this happen? Is this because they leave to go on a case? So is this just a random case that doesn't matter to any of the other films? Is this The Conjuring? Is this The Conjuring 2? Is this, we don't know.
Well, because they don't. It doesn't get brought up, but like by the time people the timeline, I think you look at the official timeline. It's allegedly this takes place before the first movie.
It says when I googled it, it says either 69 or 72. So it's like.
Then that kind of contradicts things. If it did take place before the first film, it contradicts stuff that happens in the first film.
Yeah,
that's kind of a
it's just
gap. That is kind of.
I think the first movie takes place in what, 73?
The first film takes place in 71.
Okay. So it's either after the first one, or it's either before the first one or between the first and second.
Yeah, it's the first Conjuring is 71, and then Annabelle is I remember we had this conversation. It was 70.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Conjuring 1 71, Conjuring 2 is 77. So this is, I don't know. There's no clarification. I just think to be honest, this is a movie that really has no connection to anything else. Like, it doesn't lead into anything. No. It's just here.
I'm gonna play my cards early because
don't do it, please. Hide your hand.
We all know how we feel about this.
No. What if they don't know? I'm not.
We all know.
Listen.
He can
close to my chest.
He can cut it out, or I can repeat it at the end. I feel like if this had nothing to do with the Conjuring universe, I would like it better. If they took out Annabelle and took out the Warrens and replaced it with more like different demons, ghosts, haunted parts.
Just watch 13 Ghosts.
That I like too.
I just saying.
But I kind of feel like I would have liked it better.
Yeah. They wanted us to see more of the demon. And to be honest, spoiler alert, there's not much of him. So
yeah.
Yeah. This I don't even care. Like, I'm just expressing like just the disappointment of just what I've seen. I'm not, we'll get to the end and we'll share our full thoughts on the movie, and we'll rank it and stuff like that. Yeah. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Listen, right here.
In the fields.
No, cards to the chest. I don't care about nobody's feelings.
Oh, I just assumed it was your feelings. Your one feeling.
From what I just read, Doberman confirmed that the film takes place shortly after the beginning of The Conjuring, where the titular character is introduced. So, but also before many of the events of the first installment.
So this is technically
so. I feel this movie. Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything. It's another prequel that just does nothing.
That fucks up what happens in the first movie. But we'll talk about it.
So, do we have anything we want to share before we get to the plot?
I have experiences.
Experiences?
Yeah. What were we supposed to share our experience?
Oh,
that's right. Yeah. Let's talk about because we're all first time watchers of this movie. So let's.
We actually watched this partially in the dark.
She did. I know.
Wow.
I was surprised.
Good job.
We were cuddling on the couch. We had no kids. I'm like, I ain't getting up. fuck this.
She's like suction cup to me.
No, it was more like our couch is like this wide and us together are like this wide. So I'm like, I got my leg propped up on part of the couch so I don't fall on the floor. That was me.
That's true facts. So I went into this movie kind of apathetic because I know where this franchise is kind of going. Like I had no real hype for this. Like I was like, it's like whatever, so I'll go and watch it. That's my experience. I don't know what else to add. Like
No,
I was just like,
yeah.
I was like hoping for some music. I was like, come on, bring back the music. I was hoping for some good music, and I was hoping to at least be entertained to some extent. I did not have really high expectations for the film. Like I said, I was just kind of like, hey, let's watch this and we can talk about it on the podcast. It's literally what it felt like. There was no like, oh, dude, what's what this one's all about. It's just kind of like,
I mean, all the negativity that you've heard before. Well, I've heard.
I do take a little bit of that, and I think that's just as human beings work. I take a little bit of that in consideration, what people say about things. But I'm like, I want to my opinion on this.
I still try to go in blank slate, like, okay, these people could just not like it, and I love it. Like we've been there before.
Oh, I know.
And help much.
Yeah. It's your turn, Parker.
Is it my turn? Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Please. Yeah, I think we elaborated.
So yeah, my first time watching, and the thing was I remember telling certain people, not like anyone like on Twitter or anything, but I think I like asked my brother, and I was like, hey, he's like, what are you guys covering this week? And I was like, oh, we're doing Annabelle Comes Home. He's like, oof. Good luck with that. And so I never take people's thoughts and like when they go, oh man, that movie's terrible. It never deters me from seeing it because I want to see if my experience is different. And you know, this movie has a good atmosphere to it. It had, to be honest, it had some moments that kind of like made me tense up a little bit where you're like, oh, what's going to happen here? And I like that. But that's about it. I'm
not saying there wasn't interesting things about the movie.
No, there was a lot of good ideas, and we mentioned that earlier. There's a lot of good ideas in this movie. They just don't pay off. Yes. And we're going to talk about that more in detail when we go through this plot. But that was my experience. My wife, not a fan of the demon, the Annabelle demon. Every time he pops, she's like, "You God, son of a bitch!"
I want a statue
again. It's hilarious. The only reason I know that demon is called Malthus is because of a YouTube channel I watch that covers all of like these movies and like horror movies. And for some reason, I guess that's the demon's name, even though they never say his name in any of these movies. So I'm like, and every time you see his name in the credits, it's just the demon. So I don't know where the name came from, but whatever.
Unless it's like a fan.
Could be, name. Yeah.
I've seen that happen before. No, I want him in statue form.
Statue
awesome.
So the actress that McKenna Grace replaced was Sterling Jerens. She played Judy in the original. But I guess Jerens will be back in The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. So, yeah, which is because I think it made sense because if this movie takes place before The Conjuring, and The Conjuring, Devil Made Me Do It, I believe takes place in 1980. So it just makes sense.
To the 80s on that, huh?
Yeah, I think it's around then. But it's cool that she comes back to play her once again.
I dig it. I'm interested to see what that one's about for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I thought it was really cool that Samara Lee comes back and plays Bee.
Yes, I
was like, hey, it's her. And Lulu Saffron, who played one of the orphan girls in Annabelle Creation, she actually returns in this movie, but as a different character. She plays just like one of the Judy's classmates. Yeah. She's the producer's daughter, who is also the co-CEO of DC right now with James Gunn. I did not know.
Okay.
We've been talking about Peter Safran for the entirety of this franchise. He's literally a producer on every single one of these movies, and I just realized like last week I was like, oh, he's now he's like the co-CEO of DC, the DC film department. I'm like, oh, okay.
Sometimes you just don't know. You just don't know about a person, huh?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that I think is about it for some behind the scenes. Are we ready to talk about this plot now?
Make it so.
All righty, here we go. So, once again, we see this goddamn opening from The Conjuring because we don't know what happened.
I said that. I was like, how many times has this been in this series? Like 4 fucking times at this point?
Well, at this point, we can, recite it word for word.
Yeah, it literally is that scene where it's the Warrens talking to the nurses, but this time we get to see the end of that conversation where they're like, "Oh, we could burn it." And he's like, "Well, if you do that, it's not going to destroy it. It's going to, it needs a soul, it needs a body to possess." And so he's like, "I'll take it. We'll take it away." And they're like, "Yep, okay, see ya.
Bye.
Please. Yep, not going to fight you there."
You wanted to bring something haunted home, you'd be sleeping outside.
Yeah.
Just
So,
saying.
Like, dude, I found this sweet old satanic Bible.
Nope. Bye.
Written in blood.
So they take the doll. They're driving home, and you get this whole cute little conversation between the Warrens about, how Ed is not good with directions and how long is it going to take to get home and stuff like that. And Annabelle's just sitting in the back seat like a child.
Daddy, look, are we home yet?
I was going to say, I was waiting for her to say, "Are we there yet?"
So they pull.
Daddy, I need to go to the bathroom. No, damn it.
Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet?
Did the music start yet? Is there music in this scene?
I don't remember.
Is
To
that
be
later?
honest.
I don't remember what
It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna say it now. Fuck it, it's what they brought back the good music in this movie.
Yes, because Joseph Becarra is back as the composer.
Dude, it's so fucking good. I'm like, oh my god. I was like, yes.
Yes, where it has that weird piano bit that plays, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Okay.
Oh, no, he's just talking about the licensed
Oh, I thought you
like
meant
the oldies.
I thought you meant the
shit,
score.
Dude.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like the These Eyes by the Guess Who. Like,
yes.
It's like, yes. I mean, the background music is good. Like, let's not discredit the composer, but I'm just because it always takes place in this era that, like I said, I talked about in all these movies that I grew up with this music, and I'm glad. Every time they play this shit, I'm so excited. I'm like, yeah, I fucking know that song.
You're just singing the music.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
No, they pull up to a bad accident. Someone died. Lorraine sees a ghost, or that's what we think it is, kind of just standing on the side of the road. I was trying to figure out if this was one of the nurses, because they gave the doll away and then maybe they get in an accident. I was like, is that one of the? Because I even rewound it to see the outfits they were wearing. To see if that was the same outfit that the ghost was wearing, but it wasn't. It was just a girl who got in an accident and died.
See, I said that to Angela. I was like, was that one of the nurses? And she's like, so we just kept it going.
So they have to go an alternate way home. They break down, of course, in front of a cemetery. I'm like, wow, convenience.
And these two have to continue to be the cutest couple of all time.
Oh, they're adorable.
Those unrealistically cute couple. Like, I guess I missed my turn. Well, I guess we're going this way, huh? Jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, Ed.
So cute. So yeah, he's got to change. Did they get a flat tire? I can't remember. They break down.
Oh, it just fucking died.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
They completely died. I was like,
Yeah.
Your alternator's cooked or you lost your belt.
Yeah, and while he's trying to figure out what to do, she's looking at the map, and of course you get the whole thing where she's got the map up against the window, and you're expecting a jump scare, and then it doesn't happen. I hate false jump scares. Just give me the goddamn jump scare. Don't fucking play with my fucking emotions like that.
Dude, and I hate the directing for this too. Like, no offense, but I hate the direction for this scene because she's like,
yeah.
What's the point?
Like, dude, you're making it too obvious.
You know what would have been easier if she just got out of the car and just put the map on top of the car and looked at it that way.
We're just gonna put this here. We're gonna.
This is just the start, ladies and gentlemen. This
Yeah.
is just the fucking start.
So she looks in the back seat though, and she hears, oh, "I like your doll." And I was like, "Oh, it's back, guys! That line."
This sounds familiar.
Yeah, and it's the girl who got in the car accident. She's kind of like confused, and Lorraine is trying to be, tell her, "Oh, you got in an accident, you died, and it's okay, and everything's gonna be all right." And then she disappears, and then she looks at the cemetery, and there's just people everywhere, and they just start to like come closer to them. A truck almost hits Ed, and then the guy gets out. He's like, "Oh, it wasn't me, man. Someone took control of my truck." And I went, Annabelle has this much power? Okay, listen. How far of a reach does her power have? Because clearly he lost control of his truck pretty far down the street.
It just depends on the writer and director.
Isn't this where Ed closes the hood and you see all the ones behind him?
Yeah.
And then he gets
pushed
into the road.
Bitch.
Yeah. They like literally just
yeet.
So this is relevant to me. So growing up, like I said, I used to be terrified of zombie games, right? Movies, any of that stuff. It was Resident Evil fucked it for me, the first one. And I was just nothing to do with them. So like this literally happened. We were going to my grandfather's house one night, and we had to pull off on the side of the road right in front of the fucking cemetery in the middle of the night. Like this shit happened to me growing up. And of course, not the specters, and nobody pushed my dad in front of a truck. But fortunately. But no, it just rang true. Because like when you see all of them around him, I'm like, zombies. But they're not zombies, of course.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they get swarmed by the ghosts, and of course, this is when Lorraine's like, "It's her, she's doing it," and then you get title card.
And then you find out Annabelle is a conduit for other spirits, like an extremely powerful conduit for other spirits for reasons.
Yeah, I guess she just is like the demon is just a puppet master for all these other spirits.
Which we see a demon do this at some point in the franchise, but it was oh my god, I almost said Vecna. That's fucking Dungeons and Dragons. Valak does this with the one ghost in the second Conjuring movie.
Yeah.
And that's really the main time we see that. But now apparently fucking Malphite's like, oh god, I could just summon and control fucking everybody and blah 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 blah.
Well, yeah, because Valak controls the ghost of the old man, and then she also controls the crooked man. Like they say like she's able to like, turn into whoever. The demon in this is literally just puppeteering all these other spirits.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So we get back to the Warrens' house, and Father Gordon's just standing there creepily in the driveway. Like, why don't you just?
Who the fuck does this?
He's just like, bro, well, what are you doing?
I'm here to bless the doll. You could wait in your fucking car at the front door, sir.
Oh, we don't do this in that age. You just stand there and stare.
Yeah.
Just be at their fucking table.
Like, Father Gordon, you okay, buddy? It's played by the same guy, by the way.
Well, of course.
So they put the doll, they're trying to figure out where to put the doll in the room. At first they were going to put it in the rocking chair, but Lorraine goes, "Oh, hey, where's that church glass that we got from that church before they knocked it down?" And so there you go, because it's holy relic.
It's suddenly a cabinet.
Yeah, suddenly a cabinet.
Yeah, I'm guessing because we've seen Ed. He's a handy man, so he probably just went out there, fucking whipped it out, probably fixed another Chevy.
5-10 minutes tops.
Yeah. And there we go.
Repaired someone's plumbing, their flooded basement.
Stained it and everything.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, because there's things in the room start doing shit once they put Annabelle in.
Yeah, I love how they always focus on the monkey, the clapping monkey there, or the little symbol monkey.
I need to know why that monkey's in there.
Yeah, and you never get told, by the way.
Toy Story 3. That's why.
Yeah.
Toy Story 3.
It's a prequel to it.
His eyes are everywhere.
Yeah.
So they put her in the case, and they bless. Well, Father Gordon blesses the doll before they put her in the case. But once she's in the case, everything kind of calms down, and like, oh, the evil is contained. And I'm like, okay, I like where we're going here.
The most unenthusiastic fucking blessing.
Oh my God. Yes. The guy who plays Father Gordon is like half asleep. Like he doesn't want to be there. He's just like, I'm like, oh, you got to move your lips, man. I need to understand what the hell you're talking about.
I'm just here for the
This is why this doesn't work.
Holy
It's like
Christ.
fucking Ash from the Army of Darkness. He doesn't say the fucking thing right.
Yeah.
And this fucking
But
lazy
that's like
ass
done on
fucking
purpose. But that's like
priest.
done on purpose because
Yeah,
it,
this
you know, it's
lazy ass
funny.
Fucking pastor.
And
Yeah,
he's just
right?
like,
"Brr."
I'm so fucking sick of this.
It's like, God, dude, I got fucking church service in the morning. I'm fucking tired. Let's just go. Let's
he's
go.
just worried about something. He's wanting dinner. He wants his paycheck.
Yep.
It's like, dude, like go. He's like, come on. He's like, this is one of the most powerful demons I've ever found. Like, well, so was my wife in the morning. Blah blah blah. I gotta go to church. Something.
So we get a little description about how, you know, how pretty much evil Annabelle is. She's the most malevolent, evil spirit that the Warrens have dealt with. That's when we get the title card, and then yeah, we're off to the races now. So it's 1 year later, and so the Warrens, they're leaving for a case, and they are, you know, their daughter Judy is going back to school after an article came out about the Warrens pretty much calling them a hoax. And you get the whole thing where it's kind of like what they show in The Conjuring 2, where are they really ghost hunters or are they hoax? And so of course Judy knows exactly how it's going to go at school because everybody's going to treat her differently.
Because kids are mean.
Oh, yes, they're awful. So they leave for a case and they get a babysitter who is Mary Ellen. And I really like this character. She's one of, I just wish she was in a different movie.
Right?
She just, you know, she plays a caring person who clearly has a lot of history with the Warrens. You know, she's probably watched Judy for many years and knows how she is and is very close with the family. So you get that really good camaraderie between Mary Ellen and Judy. So the Warrens are gone. She brings her to school. You get the whole thing where Judy is kind of hesitant about going, but then you see her having to deal with just people suck. Like her birthday's coming up and she like no one wants to go to her party because she's the weirdo now because her parents are weird and
oh no.
Yeah, and but she's out like in the courtyard and she sees this creepy priest just standing in the middle of the courtyard.
Yeah.
And you're like, is that an actual priest? Because she goes to a Catholic school. So is this a priest or is this a dead guy?
I thought it was like a sexual harassment thing was fixing to happen here.
The dude looks like a dead guy in his pictures. His name is Gary 7.
Oh.
Gary /7.
So you then figure out that the guy's dead because she finds the bust of the guy in the front of the school when Mary Ellen comes to pick her up. And you also meet this bully. Oh, God, I can't remember what his name was. But he's the brother of the girl that we're going to meet later.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Anthony. Yeah. Which I guess Judy's husband in real life was named Tony. So I guess this was kind of like a whole thing where they were like, oh, we're going to make it so. Yeah. But I guess that's not how they actually met in real life. So
he just picks on you because he likes you.
I want to say this.
Gig.
First off, growing up, did you give a fuck about anybody's parents?
No.
That you hung out with?
No.
Exactly. No point. Doesn't fucking matter. Nobody's going to give a shit about your parents. Your parents might care about their parents, but you like hanging out and doing stuff, nobody gives a shit, right?
No.
As long as your parent did like murder somebody or isn't in prison. That's like the only time people give a shit about anybody. Anywho, like this is where like, oh, so I guess she's clairvoyant like her mother?
That's pretty much what I'm getting at is she's the same. Yeah.
Never got brought up in Conjuring 1 or 2?
No, because it's because she wasn't a major part of the story. She shows up for like one scene. So I don't know. It just didn't matter at that time.
And I kind of feel like you may see things, but you don't point them out. when you're a kid. Like, you know, you have kids that have their imaginary friends,
Yeah.
but they don't say anything. I kind of feel like it's that. She's just kind of keeping it until she realized, hey, this is probably not, he's probably not supposed to be here.
Well, also, this is another huge issue, because if this takes place prior to most of the major events of the first film, why the fuck is Judy keep trying to get into that fucking room in the first movie?
Because clearly continuity doesn't fucking matter.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, dude, why the fuck would you know what the fuck is in there?
Right. Well, that's the thing is Judy, in the brief amount of time you see her in the first Conjuring, she seems really small. Like, she seems really young, because there's the whole thing where Ed is bringing that guy around. It's showing him the room, and Judy's kind of hiding in there, and he's like, can't be in here. This Judy seems way older and way more mature than that Judy. So it doesn't make sense if this one is before that one, because clearly if she went through this shit, she's not going back in that fucking room ever again.
No. It almost feels like a different kid. Like if they had like two kids, right?
Yeah,
I said they got a different kid.
They got two kids.
Got her.
Judy and Judy the second.
They just
Judy
found her. They found her.
They did find her.
Found cake.
It's like found cake. You can't just find cake. It's not naturally occurring. It has to belong to somebody. I asked someone, said it wasn't their cake. You want to try a bite of it? No, I don't want that. It's disgusting. You found it on the ground. But it's chocolate. It's litter.
Cake is cake. I forgot to mention you meet Daniela, Mary Ellen's friend. They're at the grocery store. You meet was his name No Balls Bob or
Bob's got balls.
Bob's got balls. By the way, everybody, this character useless. 100% useless. They introduce
very well.
They introduce this character.
He fits in. He hides with the chickens. He is a chicken.
I mean, I would probably hide with the chickens too, after what he was getting chased by. But yeah, this is a character they introduce because he is a love interest to Mary Ellen, who is one of our main characters, but he just doesn't play in anything. He's just useless. But we have to get his whole, them having this weird meet cute in the grocery store. Find out his dad owns it. Who cares? We're gonna move on now.
Yeah, no big deal. Oh, the only important thing you learn out of this is the fact that Mary has asthma.
Yes.
That's it. Yep. That's the only thing you learn.
So we're back at the house. They're party prepping for Judy. They're gonna have a little thing for Judy before her big party on the weekend. Of course, she's got to be sad because no one's gonna come to her party. And
I mean, I would be.
Daniela with that shit ass cake either. So
Daniela shows up.
Sorry, go ahead.
And pretty much her reason for being there is she wants to snoop around the room because she's trying to find something, but we don't really know why she's like. Mostly, I think it's just we just feel she's just being curious and she wants to know more about the Warrens. Yeah, she sucks, to be honest. This character is the reason this movie happens, and she just sucks. I mean, listen, they try to give you a reason why. Oh, this is why she's doing it. It's like, come on.
It's the worst fucking reason.
Don't care why you're fucking doing it. You don't listen. They tell you not to do it. They tell you not to talk about Annabelle. You do it anyways. You don't fucking listen when she tells you not to go in the room. You do it anyways. Like,
yep. So she can't get in the room. She has like she baits them to leave because she gets rollerblades and then said, "Oh yeah, go. You should take her outside and and I'll watch the cake." She can't get into the room, so she gets the keys from Ed's office, which this was also confusing to me because again, we don't know when this takes place. So I'm going in there. I'm like, "Where's the Valak painting? Where's the painting of the house from The Conjuring?" Oh yeah, they didn't happen yet. So.
Yeah, why does he just leave his keys on the desk behind Jesus?
I do like the fact she's like, "Don't judge me."
Jesus, but it's such a random fucking spot.
Yeah, and it's the fact that she just happened to magically put her hand there, and it's like
Knowing what is in that room
keys.
and your daughter.
Right. That should be in a
is vastly
should be in
different
a
than the
safe
first-
or something.
Yeah, dude, that should be fucking put up.
He
Yeah.
needs to have him in, the desks that had the three drawers on each side,
Yeah.
and it had the little keyhole in the very top, and
Yeah.
it locked all the drawers underneath.
Fuck yes.
What do they call it with like convenient when something convenient happens in a movie? What do they call that?
Plot convenience?
Well, no, there's another word for it. I can't think of it right now.
Okay, that's fine. We'll
I
figure
just
it out.
always say happenstance, but it just magically happened that way. But no, you need to lock your keys up, and
Lock
it
your keys
needs
up.
to.
Come on, man.
The dad needs to be the only one that has the key to.
Yes. 100.
Said
They should have been with him when he
Yeah.
left. So they're just like,
Exactly.
yeah. Jesus is
Is
going
it
to
right?
watch
Leave
him.
him
Don't
here.
worry.
Oh yeah, don't you take them, sinners.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gonna stop everybody. It's like there's no gun signs on the outside of stores. That's gonna stop people from taking them in there. Good faith, don't do that.
People read signs and take them seriously. Clearly, this girl who literally saw a sign said, warning, positively, do not open. Open
I know,
me.
right?
I feel that working in retail, Parker knows. People don't read signs.
No.
Or they see it and they're just like, that doesn't pertain
And
to
you
me.
say something to them and they're just like, what?
Yeah.
That's
They're like,
stupid.
"What?"
You're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So she goes in the room
In the
and
room.
and she, you get to see all the different objects in there, and you
She
see the
fingers
wedding.
all of them.
She touches everything, and she even states it later, but she, no joke,
Yeah.
touches everything in the room. And you find out she's trying to call her dad because her dad died in a car accident, and she's trying to get in contact with him.
And this is where I like some of the nuances that happen. Like, this is what kind of helps it be a little bit better. Like when she first walks in the room and things start moving as she
Mhm.
goes past.
Mhm.
She doesn't see it, but we see it. And I'm like,
It's because it's very subtle.
I was like, it's really cool.
You get the twinkle twinkle star. Dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she sees the case with Annabelle inside, and as she walks away,
Don't.
yes, and as she walks away, the doll falls forward against the glass, and so she opens the case.
Oh, we're
She's
gonna fix it.
She's a capital D dumbass. She opens the case. She touches the doll.
After she looks at the sign that says "Don't open," she's
Yep.
like, "It'll be fine." Nope.
And as she's
Damn it.
putting her back to shut the case, the smoke alarm goes off, and she doesn't close the case all the way. And as she runs out, you see that the doll falls forward and pushes the door open. And you're like, well, you fucked.
Yep.
So,
Lock it back.
of course, they come back, and no one knows that anything happened. We find out that Judy's bully, is Daniela's little brother. And Judy also talks about how she can see ghosts, like she's like her mom in that way. So this is when things start happening, and like Judy starts seeing Annabelle all over the house, but like she'll see her, and then she goes to look in that spot again, and she'll be gone. There was I think this is the one where she's sitting in the living room, right? And she drops the remote and she goes to get it, and Annabelle is on the back side of the couch, and then she goes to look behind the couch and she's not there.
Yeah.
'Cause she's watching TV, eat pizza, and the TV turns off, and the remote is right there on the
Yeah. It's one of those
table.
space bricks.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
Like,
big
you can't lose that.
And
one. Picking that up.
and it was pretty funny because the show, I don't know what the show was she was watching, but the little girl or the kid on the show wins a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
Another little callback there.
Second time that's happened in this franchise.
I know what show it was too.
Before
Dang
this
it.
scene, though, the scene right before this is Mary Ellen hears the doorbell. She goes to the door and, she's like, hello, hello. And no one answers. And then she says it again. And she's like,
Yes.
is Annabelle home?
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, no, I like this scene a lot. This is like one of my
Yes.
favorite scenes of the movie.
I got chills seeing it, and I got chills again thinking about it.
And she's like, no, and she keeps looking through the glass there, and no one's there. And then she finally opens the door, and it's B, scratching at the side of the house. She's like, is Annabelle home? And she's like, there's no one here. There's no one here by that name. She's like, yeah, she's right behind you. And if you didn't pay attention, Annabelle the doll is in one of the dining room chairs.
That's what I was looking for.
As she goes to answer the door, but when she turns around, the doll's gone.
The little girl's like, tee hee hee.
Yeah, and she literally, she laughs and just runs off screen.
Like, yeah, you get the fuck out of here, you little goblin. Calls up the pest man, pest control next day. Sprays for annoying ass children. Keep them away from your property.
So, this is when Daniela also sees her dad inside the house. This was when they were outside. They were having their conversation, and she looks and she sees him in the sliding window, and she goes and looks for him, and she goes upstairs. And this is when Judy also sees the wedding dress ghost walking around, and so she goes to investigate. This is again one of those things where she goes to the door that's kind of cracked open, and she sees the Annabelle doll in the rocking chair, and then kind of like double takes and goes in there, and the doll's gone.
She shuts the door and like kind of thinks about opening it up again because she has her hand on the door, and I'm like, just let it go. But
Put the
she's
dick
like,
down, ma'am.
we're gonna open the door, and I'm like,
And then of course you have a very similar scene to the nun where she sees the shadow of the wedding dress ghost come. She's outside, but then she goes through the mirror. And then she shows up in the room across the hall. And then you get that very similar shot to the original Annabelle where she just stands there and then she pulls out the knife and then she just fucking full out sprints.
Yeah.
And
she's like floating past the windows outside, though.
Yeah.
That was a big old.
It's the bride.
That was a big old thunk.
Keep going.
And she pulls out the cross, and you hear her screaming. They come up to see what's going on. Yep. And this is when Judy tells Mary Ellen about her abilities. We then see then Daniela goes back to Ed's office and finds all of the records and files on all of the investigations the Warrens have done. We have some really cool ones, and we're going to talk about it at the end of the episode because somebody did ask us this question on Twitter that clearly no one understood the assignment but me.
Yep.
Listen, Linda, it was not specified. Just saying.
So
questions were asked. I answered.
So we see a file for the ferryman and the hellhound or the black shook and the wedding dress killer or the wedding dress woman, which I guess the whole story behind that is the dress itself causes whoever wears it to go crazy.
Oh, see, I want to learn about all of them. It's not just like yes, there's a specific one that I'm more pulled toward, but I want to learn about them all. Like I need case files.
Like, did we really need 3 movies to talk about one goddamn doll when we could have gotten all these different ones?
I mean, they could have done a 13 Ghost style.
Yeah.
For cases that they've done.
So
should have been called. This movie should have just been called Night at the Warrens. It'd be Night at the Museum, but with scary shit.
No joke. That's what it should have been called. Yeah. So when Daniela mentions Annabelle, that's when Judy's like, "Don't talk about her. She's the worst.
She is
Don't
super
speak that
serious
name."
too.
Yeah.
So I first saw McKenna Grace in The Handmaid's Tale, and she is very like eye acting.
Yeah, she is very
Dan's
good about
like,
expressing emotion.
Dan's like, she looks like she's tired all the time or sad, and I'm like, just wait until her eyes start. Like it's very subtle, but it's the angry eyes. Like, do not.
Yeah.
But she's also scared because she knows. She knows.
So the 3 girls, decide it's time to play some Feely Mealy. Was this a real game?
Yes.
it is. I was like, dude, this is like.
This is where all
We were
those.
just talking about fluffing nuts, dude. This is off camera, but this is what I'm talking about.
This is where all those games come from that you see people play now, where they're having to reach inside.
Oh, like on Jimmy Fallon, they do the
yeah,
thing.
like
Yeah.
they reach inside the boxes without seeing
Right.
to see what it is. Well, this is kind of a spin-off of this game.
I thought you were talking about Tide Pods or people going and breaking into people's houses and recording beats. It's TikTok. I'm sorry.
I was just say, what's that have to do with
You said games people play these days.
with the?
It got some weight.
Okay.
It's got some weight to it. It's a little like chicken skin, but it's fine.
So they're in the middle of playing the game, and the doorbell rings, and who is it but Bob? And he's trying to.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, he's just there to see Mary Ellen, but he's very awkward. And of course, the pizza guy comes, and he's like, "Hey, man, you gotta woo her, man. You gotta woo her." And then, of course, he's like, "Hey, yeah, you got the whole pizza except for one piece because I enjoyed that on the way here." And I'm like, "Fuck, what?" If a pizza guy ever did that, I would literally not give him the money.
I would throw it back at him.
Yeah.
I'd hit him with it.
You know, speaking of pizza places, allow me to derail for a moment.
Oh,
this is
imagine that.
well. First off, first one is relevant to the story.
That's what we're known for.
The Feely,
especially us two.
That's true. The Feely Mealy game. I don't know if we mentioned it was in the Warrens' room.
Yes, they did show it in the beginning when they go through the room.
Because when they're going to play the game, it's like, oh, I don't remember this one. Like, let's play it. You know, that's
so. I think Annabelle kind of puts it there. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Just gonna piece of candy.
Not relevant at all, but like we've been ordering from Pizza Hut a bit lately. I used to work at a Pizza Hut, fun fact. And they actually, when you order your pizzas, if you didn't know this, they actually show you before they give them to you. Like they open the box and like, not all pizza places do that. I think that's a neat thing. It's just like, hey, does this look good? The lady remembered from me from when we cleaned the local Pizza Hut too.
Oh, okay.
She's like, oh, hey. I was like,
half the time I'm like, I trust you guys because you order it, so I don't really know what's supposed to be there. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
So of course Bob gets kind of kicked out of there because she can't have any friends over or any boys over. Yeah, can't have any boys over. This is where we get the scene, as we stated. We talked about it before, so we won't go too far about the girl or the kid on the TV winning the Raggedy Ann. She sees Annabelle behind the couch, but then it leads into the cake. They bring out the cake, wish Judy a happy birthday, and I just go, damn, this doll is really good at what did I write? He's good at seek then hide, because you always find it and then it just disappears.
Where'd it go? Was it incorporeal or just kind of?
Yeah. And then he got Bob outside acting like John Cusack, fucking strumming his guitar out there, trying to woo Mary Ellen. And I was like, all right, cool. Like he's doing a good job. And then they leave because Mary Ellen was going to go outside and be like, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to ask him out, blah, blah, blah. And then he gets chased off by a hellhound. The worst part of this fucking movie is this fucking hellhound. Anytime, like, it just takes me so far out of this movie where he's getting chased by pretty much a werewolf.
Yep.
Like, what?
Dude, and I made references during this to fucking American Werewolf in London.
Oh no.
Not like it's in quality, but it just felt like that.
I was gonna say this
but is that's a good movie.
I know, but I'm not saying it's a quality thing, but just like the situation, like he gets ran off into the fog. I'm like, what the fuck are we watching?
This is more like Twilight Werewolf.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're that bad. They're
not like pretty. Well, you get that like fog effect, which then turns into the werewolf, which I guess is okay, but it's just this whole werewolf thing, hellhound, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's just dumb, and it looks. There's a part though where you see it later, and it actually looks pretty good because I feel like it was practical, which I'm always an advocate for practical effects.
Yeah, of course.
But when you first see him, he's all CG, and it just doesn't look great. It just threw me off.
The best part about everything that has to do with the werewolf is two things. I like the book.
Yes.
that
Yes.
it's attached to. What's it called? The black something?
The Black Shook.
Black Shook. I like that book. I like how it looks neat. Look at the claw marks and shit on it. And then the chickens the dude gets to hang out with. I was like, yeah, chickens. Fuck yeah. I was all about them chickens.
So the werewolf is a French legend of I'm not even going to try and pronounce it because it's me and French don't get along. It's a monstrous werewolf appearing out of an encroaching night fog. So it holds to the legend. They just could have done it.
They just didn't do much with it.
No.
This was just to make it so that Bob doesn't ever get with them. Like,
doesn't do anything.
No. That's the thing. This movie
must have done something right.
The thing about this movie is there's so many dangers and no one dies.
Nothing happens to anybody.
If anybody should have died, it should have been the two girls, the babysitter and her friend.
Yeah.
And Bob.
Bob, yes.
Why did they kill the pizza guy?
They don't kill anyone. Because I feel like it would just turn into something even bigger than it needed to be. And it would just been weird, but I don't know. Just
leave Judy by herself. Kill everybody else. Leave Judy by herself. She has plot armor.
Yeah. Sure does.
Nobody else
and
does.
They would have contacted the Vatican Section 13, the Iscariot organization, and brainwashed her ass so she never would have fucking known what was going on. Oh, shit. That's when we get Alexander Anderson and all the Hellsing stuff comes in.
So, so yeah, but this also is the reason why everything's so foggy. Like it just drops real hard, and the fog is everywhere.
The machines could suddenly go from 1 to 20.
Yep. So we go by the room, and the room door opens, and Daniela goes back in there because she forgot to return the keys. Because Mary Ellen's like, "Hey, you gotta go. Thanks for being here, though." And then she's like, "Shit, I got the keys." So she goes back the back way to get in, but the door like opens on its own, and she's like, "I guess I should go in." And I went, "Why?"
And it gets worse when she gets in the room.
Yeah.
If I have my back to a door and I can hear the locks unlocking, they have 4 locks on it? No, I'm out the door.
Yeah.
Bye, I'm going home.
Daniela is the dumbest character in this movie.
Yes.
By far.
Because she doesn't listen. Kids in these movies don't listen.
We forgot to mention when they go through all those files, they talk about the locket that you can talk to like lost loved ones.
The Talket.
Yeah, and so that was what she was going after. And when she goes back into the room,
stop it. Stop.
I'm sorry. Just keep going.
Now all I can think of is there's a Wocket in my pocket.
Yes. Oh my god, dude. Unrelated. The dude that wraps those. No. There's 2 of them. There's 2 of them. There's a different guy that does the Walk in my pocket. And listen,
Up on Pop.
No, that one too. But it's the Fox and Socks.
Fox and Socks
Fox
too.
And Socks is this white dude.
He
just wraps the shit and he fucking nails it.
He does several.
It's great.
Hey,
Dr. Seuss, Fox and Socks rap.
I've talked about it on the show when I did a sophomore year in my English class for a final was to do a dramatic reading of any book or any part of a book, and I did Hop on Pop.
Yes,
so good,
dude. If I did that in school, I would have fucking nailed Green Eggs and Ham. Son of a bitch.
After we've had kids and we've read how many Dr. Seuss books to them over and over, what was the ABCs?
Yeah, ABCs and do we need to do the places you'll go? It was Go Dog Go.
Go Dog Go.
Which actually wasn't a Seuss book. It's in his line of books, but he didn't write that.
Yeah. There are so many Dr. Seuss books that we have read over and over to all 3 kids that I can pretty much still recite.
Yeah. Did they ever do like a book version of Seussical?
I don't know.
Just kidding. I'm sorry. Just ignore me. Carry on.
So Mary Ellen is putting Judy to bed. And this is when we get the explanation of how Daniela's dad died. They got in a car accident. Daniela was driving. She blames herself. That whole thing.
Look, Dad, no hands.
And
She was driving.
Daniela is in there trying to communicate with her dad, and she, for one, notices the doll is just gone and doesn't even blink an eye. She just goes, "Oh," and then just continues to do whatever.
Take
It's
the fucking
fine.
bracelet.
Everything's fine.
Put her dad's image into it.
Man,
Yeah,
So fucking
the rocking
stupid.
chair is going.
the house
She-
is on fire.
Yeah,
Rocks
she-
fall. Everyone dies, but it's okay.
Yeah,
Blood writing on the wall. Get
she's
out. I don't know what this
she's
means.
she's messing with the piano again, and that's when her dad shows up in the mirror, and she's like, "Oh, Dad," and then this is when she turns and he's like all cut up and shit. And it's your fault, and so she runs, and so this is the scene that pissed me off because she is being attacked by this spirit.
Yeah.
And she can't get out of this room because the door just shuts and locks, and then it just goes to another scene.
And she's in a pocket dimension because nobody can hear her yell.
Yeah.
She's in one of those like things. Yeah.
And it's not the only time that happens that
Oh,
way.
yeah. But we have precedents in the franchise for the little pocket dimension where you can't.
Yeah.
With Annabelle.
But if this is supposed to happen before some of those events happen.
Well, no, because this is from Annabelle Creation, which is before this movie.
Yeah.
Because remember when the girl falls down gets thrown off the rail. Remember she takes the chair up. She's the chair down, and she's like screaming, and nobody in the house fucking hears her.
Yeah.
Pocket dimension.
We've talked about this in a lot of these movies because it happens a lot. So we then see Bob hiding in the chicken coop.
Poor Bob.
It doesn't make it good. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know, but poor Bob.
I love the chickens, dude. He's like, "Oh, go out there, chicken," and nothing happens to the chicken. The
No,
chicken's fucking fine.
What are you talking about? You didn't hear
Does
the chicken?
die?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
You hear the chicken die?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't hear it. I
you
was
hear
like,
you hear the
okay.
chicken go, as it
Yeah.
get, like after a second or two.
But chickens do that sometimes just to do that. What if it's just fine?
It
And
eats
he's-
the chicken. Come
Why
on.
would it's a ghost? Why would it eat the chicken?
It's the chicken. Or kills
chicken
the
doesn't-
chicken at least. Oh, come on.
Poor chicken, dude.
Poor chickens.
So
Fried chicken.
Mary Ellen goes downstairs after putting Judy to sleep, and she starts hearing stuff. Like the record player starts playing on its own, the TV turns off, and so she's, she hears people like something walking around. So she goes back upstairs, and oh no, this is when she starts hearing the coins, right? Starting to fall. And she's got
So
the flashlight because she goes into Ed's office
Yes.
and she grabs the flashlight, goes around the house,
I love
and
these plastic flashlights.
with a glow,
grew
like the
up-
whole flashlight.
I grew up
glows.
with these
Yeah.
flashlights.
Fucking
It's great.
flashlight.
But
Dude, this scene you're building to, by the way, on the state is probably my favorite scene.
oh, it's one of the few good ones of the movie.
It could have been shortened.
A little bit, yeah.
The
Too much walking.
I'm more like too much
Yeah.
with the flashlight. Like, come on. If I hear something, my flashlight is immediately going in the direction of said thing.
You can tell this was not a guy in this, and this obviously takes place before because this dude like fucking Star Wars.
Well, this also came out
Dude.
before Star Wars, so
I know, I said before.
Do you remember the flashlights where you could widen and narrow the beam?
Ours
Yeah.
does that.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, they're fucking
I
sweet.
love
Like
those.
harness the power of the sun. Like
We had a flashlight when I was a kid. When my grandparents had an membership to an RV park, and I would just stand out in the middle of all these RVs, like right in the middle, and I would make it as narrow as possible, and you could see forever.
was it your grandparents' flashlight?
Yes,
Okay, it's probably you got uranium or something. That's why.
it probably did.
She's-
I am probably poisoned from said flashlight.
Probably.
No, and it was super heavy too. Like you could knock the hell out of somebody.
Can't use it for too long. The reactor gets really warm.
My
But it
arm
was
starts
definitely-
glowing colors.
It took
Turn the
the
light off. Was the flashlight
God.
off? You turn that flashlight off. It's off. Your whole hand is just glowing
Yeah.
green.
it
Oh,
took
no.
It took 3 C batteries. I do remember that. And it was
Remember
heavy.
the ones that took the big square,
Dude.
like whoop,
No,
it's like
those were
1/4 of a car
awesome.
battery.
Yes. Yes. Those were-
Derailed.
I love batteries though.
We go so long, my phone turns off. But yeah, she's walking through the house with the flashlight. It's starting to flicker and all that stuff, but she starts to hear coins falling and rolling, and she's picking them up, and they're, marked coins. She gets up to the kitchen, and that's, you get this is an awesome shot of the coin falling in the darkness, and you can kind of see the silhouette in the doorway before she shines it there. And
Yeah,
then
it's
mainly just the
she,
eyes.
yeah, and then she sees there's two glowing eyes in
They're
the
fucking
doorway.
huge.
Yeah, it's literally like the top of the door frame, and she
Yes.
points up, and as she goes up with it, it disappears, and the coins fall.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
So
And then and then the ferryman attacks her, and of course he's like supernatural, so he can literally, like, she tries to run away, and he was able to like grab her and try to drag her into the darkness, because you can see the coffins in there with all the people with their eyes. Oh, also, as she's exploring, trying to figure out what's happening, you see random people. Like, you see the woman in the dining room with the coins on her eyes. The guy is in Ed's office when she first gets the flashlight. Really cool.
Oh.
And
like I said, it's the little nuances, but it's the whole scene with it. Like, she gets knocked down by, I'm assuming the ferryman.
yeah,
But
he knocks her down.
She is booking it, and it's like she just hits something hard as balls.
Yeah.
She's literally like holding onto the door frame, like, ah!
Yep.
Yes.
And the only way that she's able to get away is gets her flashlight back on again. But we forgot to mention the fact that when she puts Judy, she goes back up to check on Judy before all this happens, and Anna, the doll, is in her bed, but she doesn't really think anything of it, so she kind of just covers it up.
Yeah.
And she goes back up to see, she can't get into her room, and this is when all the things start happening to Judy, where Judy notices there's something going on underneath the covers, so she lifts it up and she sees the doll, but then the bee fucking crawls over and attacks her, and she's like, she fights it off, and then she knocks down her light. She's got that like cool colored spinning light that shines on the wall, and this is when you see it's the doll, the shadow of the doll, which then turns into Bee, which then turns into the adult Annabelle, which then turns into the demon, which then attacks her, and she's able to escape. Really cool shot. I actually like it.
It seems like that just make it a little bit better. Like, it makes it
because it has to do with Annabelle. This is what I want to see. This is Annabelle. I want to see more of this. Even though I do like the ferryman is cool, but I think we got way too much of that wedding dress killer, which she wasn't as good as these other demons that we're looking at here.
I get why, but I want to see more of the interesting.
Yeah, the wedding dress ladies, like what, a bride that got killed or killed somebody on her wedding day?
So it was the dress, I guess, harnesses evil or something like that. So it like fucks with the person who wears it.
What did she show a little skin? Like, she showed her leg?
Yeah, who knows?
Her ankle?
Yeah, she flashed some ankle.
She flashed
some cheek.
So this is when, everybody's freaked out. They still don't know that, what's her name? Daniela is in the house, in the room. So they call Lorraine, or at least they think they're calling Lorraine, and they tell her everything that's going on. And then she's like, well, she needs a soul. You got to give her your soul. And you're like, oh, well, that's not her. That's great. And then we go back to the room, and Daniela is still in there. She's still alive. She's still unscathed. She seems fine. She's just scared. And I went, wow, that paid off to nothing. And Daniela, I forgot to also mention the fact that there's like a TV that's in the room that like, it's like a premonition TV where it like shows things that are going to happen like literally 2 seconds in the future.
Yeah.
It's fine, but it's another thing that probably could have just been cut out of this.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Mary Ellen and Judy finally get into the room, and it's the whole thing. Oh, Annabelle is behind it all. No shit.
Yeah, don't say.
We then get a whole scene where Mary Ellen is having an asthma attack. Judy volunteers to go out to get the inhaler out of her car. I don't know why you wouldn't have it on you at all times.
She was supposed to go get it when Bob showed up the first time. She was talking about she needed to get her inhaler. So she was headed out to her car. Why the hell would you have it in your glove compartment?
Good question.
Yeah.
It's an emergency inhaler. She needs it.
I mean, I understand it's the 70s.
But she needs it. How long has she had asthma?
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm with you. It doesn't make any sense.
Like, it needs to be within arm's reach at all times.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just an excuse to get whatever happens next, which is Judy going to the car. She gets attacked by the hellhound. It's okay. Looks like there's practical effects in the scene, which I'm always an advocate for.
Beating up that old dart.
Yeah.
Shame on them.
And Bob comes out of nowhere, hits the hellhound with his guitar, turns into fog.
Why?
And then it forms back into the hellhound. And instead of Bob running into the house along with Judy, he runs around the house again. And I went, Bob, you deserve to die, but yet you won't, because this movie won't allow it.
Go in the fucking house.
So that ghost priest from earlier in the movie shows up again. And this is when you get the whole thing where it's like, not all ghosts are bad. And
there's no payoff to that either.
No, it really, she follows him down to the room, right? You get the really weird.
I hate this style of house too. I hate this style of house.
That twin level.
I hate the split level houses.
Oh, I love them.
I wouldn't be. Oh.
I love them.
Not for this right here. This right here. I wouldn't want to be looking down at my basement and see somebody standing there.
Yeah.
Or think I see somebody standing there. Hell no.
You just hear a voice from the whisper from the darkness. Hey, you need to change the filter on your HVAC system. Thanks, Ghost!
We get enough of that.
I'd like to talk to you about your car's extended warranty.
Yeah. Free real estate.
Damn it! I was just about to say that shit. Literally leaning in for
when
it.
You've been married as long as we have, I know what you're thinking.
Also, this samurai suit, they play into it too much and it doesn't do anything. It
seems like it'd be so cool, like, because when they hear the noise.
I still need to know more about it. Like,
yes, I'd like to know what the hell it is.
How?
I mean, the thing is, the shot of it's being in the middle of the hallway and they walk by and the head turns. And then as they get closer to it, they can hear screams and cries, which I guess is like the suit embodies like the souls of, whoever it kills or whatever. And I think that's the whole thing. That's why
Shang Tsung.
When Daniela first walks into the room, you see it turn as she's walking past it. So, I mean, I'm like, how the hell does the suit of armor get? I mean, the lady's wedding dress was possessed too, but I'm like, how does the suit of armor get?
So
first,
you get the whole scene where the doll is just chilling in the closet and Mary Ellen goes to get it. She has to walk through like the hallway full of all the bodies from the ferryman.
Yeah, and Judy stays behind and prays.
Oh, I also forgot to mention the fact that Daniela gets attacked by the wedding dress woman and gets puked in the mouth. And as soon as that happened, I went, she's possessed now.
Yeah,
because that's how it works.
Oh, it'd
be really awesome if that plot line actually went somewhere.
Okay, it doesn't do anything.
Everything's fine. She fought her off. She's fine.
Yeah, because this is because Mary Ellen comes face to face with like her dead self holding the doll. And she gets, I do like the shot though, where it shows her walking, like noticing it. and then the ferryman is kind of in the shadows, like peering over her. I love the look of him.
He puts his hand up on the wall behind her, like he's ready to
get her.
Touch it. Touch it.
And I wanted it to happen.
Oh, you fucking coward!
So she gets the doll and is able to, like, it's from the darkness. You think that she's going to get possessed or she's going to die, and the doll gets thrown out of the closet, and that's when Daniela, who is now possessed by the wedding dress killer, or woman, or what the hell this character's name is, she attacks Judy, and then Mary Ellen comes in and attacks her, and there's a whole thing until a video or a recording that was played earlier in the movie gets kicked on, and it's an exorcism, so it exorcises the demon out of Daniela.
Exorcise the demon.
Yeah, literally.
No, all I can think of
This
is
house
the scene from Beetlejuice with what's her face in the wedding dress. That's all I can.
This is so dumb. I'm sorry. This is dumb as shit. Like, this is the most fucking
put her in a
lame,
wedding dress.
unoriginal, limp-wristed excuse for this fucking character to get possessed and literally 10 minutes later be undone.
Yep.
If 10.
It doesn't play into anything. I just don't get why we keep getting all this setup for nothing.
Like, stop starting a plot point and just end it. Like, no.
It's just annoying.
Like side quests in RPGs. Like, stop it.
I lost my doll back at my old house. Go and get it for me.
Yes.
So, yeah, that all happens. The demon, we then are back into the room where the Annabelle demon attacks Judy, and they have to work together to get the doll back into the case. And
we should just see more of the demon. Like, I know it's not the
this
same
is
guy.
all you see from him, though, is from this fucking scene and the one scene before in her bedroom. That is it. And no joke, it's one of those things where, like, as they're trying to shut the door, all of the spirits of the room are, like, getting closer and closer. And then they shut it and they all disappear. And that's when it ends. And you went, oh, my God. What?
Animated style. Well, admittedly, the demon and the Malphus or whatever doesn't really show up that much in any of the other movies either. In all fairness,
It needs to.
but like physically in its physical
In the
form.
first Annabelle, he shows up a lot.
Maybe I'm thinking of the second one. I don't know.
You see him a lot. There's one sequence when she at the basement scene where she and it follows her all the way back up to the apartment. I love that whole sequence of events.
Yes.
And that's great. That's a great scene. This is not a great scene.
Yeah.
I mean, you do get to see, I guess he is like a dementor. He literally just sucks your soul. Just like
Dude,
I'm like,
and I was
what the
telling
hell?
him, like, don't you have to give your soul up voluntarily?
I believe that's how it works.
Yeah, that's what I said. You can't do that. She didn't give her soul up.
Sure,
Well, that's the thing. Well, actually, I don't know if that's true because the girl from Annabelle Creation who becomes Annabelle.
That's true.
I don't think she gives up her soul. She just gets, they just get puked in the mouth.
But that was not.
Fair enough.
He didn't ask.
That's not non-consensual.
So maybe this is just a weird, different way of doing it. I just didn't like it. It was a fucking dementor. He was sucking her soul out. Like you see her.
I mean,
like I don't know. It just all seemed dumb.
Everybody else that you have seen be possessed was either possessed by tar blood, not sucking out your soul.
Yeah. So it's over. And no one comes to Judy's birthday party until everyone comes to Judy's birthday party. And the Warrens are back. Yay.
And like, it's not that, oh, don't worry, you just brought about several scary demons in our fucking home and everything's A-okay now. Feels like a 50s fucking sitcom, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we're all better now.
Yeah, you get Lorraine having a heart-to-heart with Daniela about her dad and about all that stuff. It's like, I remember when I was your age and I snuck off with my boyfriend without telling my parents. And Danielle was like, oh, I had to stop a demon from
Not
destroying
the same
everything.
thing.
Not the same. I was like, that's a dumb line.
Yeah,
It's
because
such a dumb
they
line.
deal with that shit all the time in this universe.
It's
It's not.
the mom from that 70s show.
Yes,
Like, literally, she tries to.
I love Kitty.
I
I know,
love
but she's good. We're not shitting.
But she tries to see the light in all of the
Agreed.
Yeah.
shit that happens with her in Red.
Dude, the ending
But
is just such shit, dude.
it's not
I'm
You know-
sorry, I hate it.
Do you know how much I just in an episode of that 70s show, not a side tangent here, but where Red just comes into the room and just goes, "Bitches leave."
I mean,
Yeah.
I am Red. Literally.
Oh, what a line. I just watched
I love
RoboCop.
it.
He's in that.
Like, yes, that's a line that
As
he
the
says
villain. Oh,
in.
yeah, okay.
He goes into a room. He's like, "Bitches leave."
Oh, I need to
love
watch
it.
those. I've never
It's
seen
so good.
RoboCop.
Listen, it's one of the few movies I've rated this year 5 stars because that movie's fucking awesome. Like RoboCop.
I want to buy
awesome.
it. I want to buy it. There's got to be a 4K of that shit.
I believe so. I
would
don't
buy
have
that.
it. I watched. It was on. I think it's on Amazon Prime right now.
When we cover it.
Yeah, and there's an awesome documentary on that came out on Screenbox. It's called
RoboCop.
RoboDoc.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's it.
Whoa,
Sorry.
close
Yes.
enough.
It's the
You
same
were
movie.
almost
Same
there.
movie.
All right. Let's talk about our thoughts on this movie before we get to comments and all that fun stuff. So, whoever wants to start, go for it.
There's so much shit they could have cut out.
Is that your thoughts on the movie?
That's it. Keep going. We're done. Wrap it up, folks.
Go
Go ahead, dear. Sorry.
Like, yes, I want them to focus more on the ghosts, but that's just me. Like I said earlier, just if they would have cut out the conjuring part of it, it would have been better, and focused on more of the. Just take out the babysitter, take out her friend, because her friend don't fucking listen.
That's the thing. Either that or just have the Warrens be the ones who fight against the demon.
Yeah, if you're gonna be the Conjuring universe, bring in the people of the Conjuring universe. Don't stop introducing a bunch of new people.
I feel the reason that they did that was because The Conjuring 3 was coming out not that much farther down the road. So they were like, we can't do 2 back-to-back Conjuring movies. It's like, whatever.
Like House of the Warrens, that would have been perfectly fine.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of things wrong with this movie, or at least that it didn't interest me. We discussed most of it. Most characters were throwaway, of course. The Warrens are good. Judy, I thought she did a fine job. I didn't mind the babysitter. I didn't give a fuck about any of the characters. There was really no weight, no gravity. This movie's biggest issue was outside. Just listen to the reviews. You'll hear the shit I like, and I bitched about the stuff I didn't like, so I don't have to reiterate it. The biggest problem with this movie is it did need to exist because it gives you nothing.
Right.
It literally should have been Annabelle Homecoming. They bring her home, put her in the cage, shut the glass, movie over.
Yep.
Annabelle is home. End of story. All this stuff is no relevance whatsoever. We did get some cool other ghosts, which I like the idea of introducing other ghosts that aren't just, Valak and Melfi's or whatever. Like, it's just those 2 ghosts, and that's pretty much it for the most part. Outside of La Llorona, but I don't think they'll ever do anything with her again.
No.
But like outside of that, there was nothing. Like nothing was added, nothing was solved. It just felt like they took this, like, we just need to make a movie, insert it here, and it fucks up some things from the previous films, but insert it anyway, and you have nothing to show.
Right.
I guess that's the problem people have with movies that are based on, if they make a movie based on like a television series, because they can't really do anything that disrupts the status quo if it's an ongoing series, because the series is already planned, and then you interject a movie, which I give a little more forgiveness to. This doesn't have that excuse. It's literally like, we need another movie this year, even though we already had a movie released this year. It just felt fucking pointless and stupid. Like I said, I did like certain things about it, but I don't know what else to say outside of what we've illustrated so far and the point that I just made now.
No, I mean, yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you guys said. I've kind of showed my hand in the beginning of the episode, but this movie just, it had so much promise. It like had so much going for it with like this. It was one of those things that just set up so many things, and then there was no payoff. It just ends, and you're like, okay, are we ever going to see any of these characters again? Probably not, because it's so far into this franchise. Like, do you really want to keep going? Like, I would love to see a ferryman movie. I would love
Yeah.
to see an origin on the dress girl one. I don't care.
You
But there's I mean, to be honest, I want to see an Annabelle movie. Like, I don't feel like we need any more Annabelle movies. I think she's been played to death.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I just wish they play more into her and the demon. Like, I feel that was one of the strong points of the first Annabelle. Even though we didn't like the first Annabelle as much, I felt the demon was utilized in a good way, where it's like this. It's like Annabelle is the reason everything is happening in this movie, but like she does nothing. Like, she's just there. And
She gets a concussion. She's
yeah,
good.
there's just too much going on in this movie, and I feel like they didn't know where to go with it, and then they just like, we're just gonna end it here.
You know what would have been an interesting idea. We've spitballed some ideas for movies. Is why don't you do something like this again? Like,
Mhm.
say after the Nun Deuce, Holy Rollers,
The
whatever the fuck it's
Nundoos.
called.
Holy shit.
Oh, there you go. They should just make one of these that's just an anthology.
Yeah.
Just do like we talked about. Yeah, you don't have to do the Warrens doing the thing if you don't want to. You can have the Warrens narrate the fucking thing, right?
I
do
need a movie with Annabelle's perspective.
That's fine, please. It's just her sitting on around a whole lot and teleporting into various places. But just make a movie that's literally the Warrens talking about like how these cases came to be,
Yeah.
and do like a creep show style. Do like 3 or 4 of them. And it's something different. It may not do well, but at least you get some different perspectives, and you wouldn't be stuck with a La Llorona situation. No offense to that movie. I do respect that for at least doing something different, but you would break it up between 3 or 4 different segments. And you could have each of them directed by a different director if you want. That like what movie we watched? The Willies. The Willies did that. I'm pretty sure it was each section was directed by a different
absolutely.
director.
I would love to see a Conjuring anthology.
Oh,
Dude, that would be so fun.
so
And it
cool.
would be different. It wouldn't be like, all right, here's another fucking Annabelle movie.
I could see it as
No offense to
a
them.
Love, Death, and Robots type. Not different.
Like a series?
Not different art styles, but different writers.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd be down with that. Like, here you go. Here's some good writers. Have them all churn out a couple stories. Either do it as a movie or do it as a Netflix series. Fuck it. Why not? I mean, that way
have a series.
You would give it time for other people to make ideas, because anything long running, you're just going to run out of ideas after a while. So you need to do something different. Stop doing them yearly, for the love of God.
I agree. But yeah, that's I feel all we can say about this movie. I don't want to like keep just bashing it. It's not terrible. It's just kind of pointless. And I feel like if we're getting to the point now in this franchise where it's just all about the money. Just give me, they put 2 movies out in 1 year. I mean, that's what they're doing.
Only Godzilla can do that shit. Don't fucking do that to us.
Because you can do so much with that. And to be honest, you could do so much with this, but I feel people are starting to get that, like that fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Hey, whatever. All right, let's get to our comments. We got a few comments on X/Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it. Our first comment is from Podcast in the Woods, who said, "This is perhaps the biggest letdown of the series for me. It's okay, but it could have been great. In fact, I think the mythology and spirits are interesting. However, it's too clean for a film set in the 70s, which I did mention, and the bad CGI take me out of it. Some of the plot elements are a bit convenient, and it doesn't truly feel as if anyone is in danger. This is not a franchise I hold particularly dear, so even though this wouldn't get the high marks, it still manages to be the best of a mediocre spooky universe." All right.
Yeah, the spoopies.
And then we got a comment from Not Quite Cool Podcast, who said, "My favorite of the Annabelle films. It's like The Conjuring 2.5.
Nice. Okay.
All right.
Very good.
And then the question that we got is from our good friend Dustin from the Flicks and Friends podcast, who said, I need to know, out of all the spirits you guys met in this movie, which one do you want to know more about?
The monkey.
The monkey. Hey.
No, what?
I think you said the ferryman.
He said the ferryman. I said the Japanese warrior armor.
Oh, that would be cool. I mean, like I said, you could do an anthology about all these spirits and give us all their origins or how the Warrens ended up getting those artifacts. It would be really cool. But the ferryman to me was the most interesting of them all.
There's so
the way
much
he
in that
looks
room.
and oh yeah.
Well, the ferryman is a Greek.
He's like he's the guy who ferries souls to Hades.
Yeah, across the river Styx. Yeah.
He's Charon, or was it Charon? Is his
something
name?
like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's all I got.
No, I'm just like what you said, because Dustin, this swallowed motherfucker here. That's what I call him. I don't know why, but the ferryman, and then
He said something else.
There was another one. Damn it! I got distracted. I was thinking of it, and I forgot, and then I remembered again, and then I forgot again. Angela's gonna look for me while we pad this out. Fuck! The wolf.
Oh,
the wolf thing.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that was those two. Because I think you could do something cool with like a demonic specter wolf thing, but like I think, as I talked about, would lend itself well to a short story. The ferryman idea is already established. You could do a whole movie on it, but I think it would lend itself better to like a shorter version, like a 20 or 30-minute thing. Boom, here's your story about the character. Do what you want with it.
Have you ever listened to the podcast called Lore?
No.
Lore. So it started off as a podcast. It's still, I believe, still going. And then they did a couple seasons of a show where they just took the podcast topics and made it into like a, story type thing.
Yeah.
Like you would kind of see on like the History Channel or whatever, where it's like dramatizations. And I think they did an episode on this werewolf or the Black Shook spirit. So, check that out if you want to know more about this demon or whatever. But yeah, that's all the comments we got. Thank you so much. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Threads. If we
rate the movies.
Oh,
we gotta rate it.
I know that, Dan, but I'm telling them about the comment thing, and then I get to that. Can you let me run this fucking show?
I thought we were done. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Jesus Christ.
Chaos ensues.
No, but make sure to follow us on all those sites, because usually it's like a day or two before we record. I post what movie we're watching so that you guys can comment on the movie if you've seen it, and we appreciate all your comments because we love reading them on the show. We like to see all the different opinions. And now, Dan, we're gonna rate the fucking movie. Jesus Christ.
Well, we all know where this one's going.
I'm here, Parker. Hello.
All right. So currently our rankings are at number 6 is The Curse of La Llorona. At number 5 is Annabelle. Number 4 is The Nun. Number 3 is Annabelle Creation. Number 2 is The Conjuring. And number 1 is The Conjuring 2. So Annabelle Comes Home. Is it better than The Curse of La Llorona?
The worst part of this for me, because I don't know.
I'm going to say it is better. There's certain little pieces that make it better.
I think it had moments that truly, like, not I would never say scare me, but like some pretty, like, there was a couple tense moments where I feel like La Llorona didn't do any of that to me. Like, there was just no part of that movie that just was like,
He pats me on the arm. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yep." That one got me. Okay.
My biggest problem is La Llorona. Obviously, I wasn't a fan of either, and I respect it for doing something different. Even though this movie, I think, with the Warrens, with the extra ghosts, with the ferryman scene, it just makes it a better movie. But I'll go with whatever you guys go with. I'm fine. But it's the fact of how so inconsequential this movie was.
Oh
Just
yeah, absolutely.
fucking eats at me.
Yeah.
It's like oh God, I don't know, man. It's just like
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. There's just,
I see where
but
you're coming
also the Curse of La Llorona has no consequence to anything in this universe either. So I feel it's like it just had. I think this movie has more elements that were creepy, that kind of played into the whole universe. And Annabelle is still a creepy character, and I like the ferryman and all that stuff. So, but
well,
I don't know.
I agree with that sentiment.
I'm
but
still stuck on why they didn't seal the windows in La Llorona. Just
I
saying.
agree. But I agree with what you're saying, 100%. But then you could say that any movie that doesn't have a sequel directly tied to it has no consequences. The problem with Annabelle is it's already got a very established, like all the Conjuring Annabelle movies,
No,
and
I
this
get what
is
you're saying. Yeah.
pushed into the middle and fucking does nothing. Like, look at all this crazy shit happening. It means nothing. That's
Yeah.
my biggest issue. But I will say, if you take that out, I will say that this is a better movie, not by much, than La Llorona, in my opinion.
All right. So we're going to put it above La Llorona. Is it better than the first Annabelle?
No.
No. All right. So Annabelle Comes Home is now our new number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our new number 6. So we are 7 movies deep into this franchise, and we have one more to talk about until The Nun 2 comes out, on digital and all that way down the road, and we can add that one. We will be, like I have mentioned, a fresh cut will be happening for The Nun 2, so stay tuned for that. But we have one more episode that'll be part of this whole series. Next week, we're going to have a special guest on to talk about The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. So I'm very excited to have this guest on. I'm not going to say who it is, just in case something happens, but I'm very excited for who is planned on to come onto the show to talk about this movie, and it's going to be a great time. And
I'll personally message him and be like, dude, you better be here.
Here's my prediction for
Or
this
I
next
ain't
movie.
showing up.
Satan's gonna show up, and just like at the end of the
No,
movie, it'll be all
But not Satan. Satan.
Satine.
Satine.
Satine. Excuse me.
No,
Satine.
what's gonna happen is it's gonna
That's
be
I'm not a bad guy.
Malthus is gonna be there, and he's gonna be running about, and it won't show up on my mic, but knock, knock, knock. It wasn't registering it on our end. Anyhow, he's gonna show up at the door dude, I gotta take Malthus home. He's got a doctor's appointment. He's can you get him for me, please? And that's just be the end.
But Dad.
Ah!
All right. So yes, next week will be The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. The end of the road for this universe so far. And yeah, we're very excited to be doing that.
Start playing Boys to Men.
What about Boys to Men?
The end of the road.
Oh, I don't know that song.
Oh gosh,
Sorry.
I have to play it for you.
Because after next week's episode, we are hopping into another Spooktober for our third Spooktober of the show, and we got some bangers to talk about in October. It's going to be a lot of fun. So,
yes,
but we won't talk too much into that. We'll talk more about that next week. To make sure to follow us wherever you want. We're on X/Twitter. We're on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, TikTok. Just go to our LINKTREE, and our LINKTREE is on every single one of those sites, and you get all those links. Make sure to follow us on any of the podcast services that you like to listen to your podcasts on, and make sure to rate us 5 stars. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, wherever. If you can rate us and review us, please do it. It helps us get out there more and have more people come in and listen to us. So we'd appreciate that. And if you watch us on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, because it's for one, it's a lot of fun to read your comments over there, and two, we're getting close to 500 subscribers over there, and maybe we can try to get monetized. Or become a partner on YouTube. That'd be cool. So yeah, go do that. We appreciate you very much. And all of Dan and Angela's links will be down in the description. Mine are down in the description. And Make sure to go check out our Patreon. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/dissectthatfilm, where we have 2 tiers. We have a $1 tier where you get episodes early, up to 3 or 4 days early. And it's just nice for you to support us, for $1. We feel, it just helps us get, new equipment, pay for programs that we use for the show. It's all that stuff. It's not necessary, but we appreciate it if you do. And we have a $5 tier, which is called the Mark Wahlberg Book Club, which is a beautiful name, where we have 2 exclusive shows that we do just for those wonderful patrons. So we have The Monster Zone, which is every month we spin a wheel. We cover 2 movies a month, and Dan and Angela host that show. And we've been covering some really good movies. In September is you're gonna be listening to this in September, so a couple one's already gonna be out. It's a good time. And then we have our Out of the Tubi series. Nah, they'll figure it out.
Okay.
See, this episode will be out probably by the end of September. So
okay, they know.
Yeah,
they know.
And our Out of the Tubi series, which is once a month, we talk about just a random movie on Tubi, and that's a lot of fun because usually they're hot garbage.
Yes, usually yes.
But yes, the link to our Patreon is also down in the description. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate all of our patrons. The fact that you give us a little bit of your money to help support the show means a lot. And everybody who listens to the show, period, all of you wonderful listeners out there, we are getting close to 20,000 downloads on the show, and it's just blows my mind. And I thank you all for that. So until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. We are Dissect That Film, and this has been the Dissect That Film podcast, episode 124. See y'all again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.